Imagine landing in a continent you've only seen through old stereotypes of poverty and danger, expecting chaos, but instead getting mobbed by thousands of screaming fans who treat you like family. Now imagine that love flipping into bottles flying at your head just days later. That's the wild roller coaster IshowSpeed experienced on his first ever Africa tour, a 28-day live stream marathon across nearly 20 countries that mixed massive celebration with real controversy and eye-opening revelations about the continent itself. Darren Watkins JRB, better known as IshowSpeed to his tens of millions of followers, kicked off the tour in late December in Angola, and the energy hit him like a freight train. Fans recreated his viral memes right on the beach. Massive crowds swarmed him everywhere he went, and he looked genuinely overwhelmed. He kept saying the welcome felt like coming home, even joking about possible Angolan roots from a DNA test he'd taken. The love was real, and it set the tone for what was to come. From there, the tour rolled into Nigeria, a stop that became one of the tour's most electric and talked about moments. He celebrated hitting a staggering 50 million YouTube subscribers with confetti, dancing, and pure chaos in the streets of Lagos. But this stop also ignited a huge controversy. When IshowSpeed came to Nigeria, everyone expected one thing: a link-up with Nigeria's biggest TikTok streamer, Peller. Speed landed, met celebrities, toured the city, and went viral everywhere. But one name was completely missing from the whole trip. No meetup, no shoutout, no explanation, and you can bet Nigerians noticed. Some fans say Speed intentionally ignored Peller, disrespecting a local giant. Others argue his schedule was tightly controlled by his management and it wasn't his call. And a few believe this just shows how local creators are overlooked when global stars arrive on their turf. One visit, two massive streamers, zero collaboration. It left the internet asking, should global stars support local giants, or do they owe them nothing at all? Despite the drama, the tour's positive moments were powerful. In Kenya, thousands of people shut down the streets of Nairobi just to catch a glimpse of him, setting new live stream view records. He visited Maasai villages, learned how to make fire from scratch, and even tasted their traditional mix of blood and milk. He jumped in contests with the warriors and earned a local name. South Africa was next, and it was all about amapiano dances, wild car spinning stunts, and even a close encounter with a cheetah that left him with a scratch. The Kingdom of Eswatini gave him a full warrior initiation ceremony and a new name meaning the one who runs. In Ghana, he got another local name, experienced making shea butter, and had heartwarming visits with local families. Senegal brought a much heavier, more solemn moment. He visited the House of Slaves on Island, a powerful historical site that marks a point of no return for countless people during the slave trade. This sparked a real emotional response online, highlighting a shared painful history between Africa and the diaspora. Then came Ethiopia, where he tried raw meat for the first time, learned the famous Eskista shoulder dance, and haggled in the markets. Egypt was all about the pyramids, the Sphinx, and dancing on a boat on the Nile. In Zambia, he took a plunge near the mighty Victoria Falls and got a haircut in a local township, drawing huge crowds once again. Throughout these stops, he was trying local foods, learning dances, and meeting everyday people. He repeatedly said things like, "I want to show the world what Africa really is," and later reflected, "This trip opened my eyes. Africa is not what I thought." These raw, unfiltered moments did something powerful. They dismantled those old, tired Western ideas of Africa as just huts, poverty, or danger. Instead, millions of his viewers saw vibrant cities, incredible hospitality, modern life, rich traditions, and massive young fan bases who saw Speed as one of their own. For many African American viewers, it was especially moving to see a young black man from Ohio embraced so fully across sub-Saharan Africa, flipping the narrative and sparking global conversations. But not everything stayed positive, and that's where the controversies hit hard. Besides the Peller situation, local creators in South Africa also felt snubbed because Speed didn't collaborate much with influencers there either. He responded to this by saying the tour's tight schedule was designed to prioritize experiencing real culture and communities, not just influencer meetups. He wanted to keep it authentic, not chase views or money. in Zimbabwe. He accidentally overlooked Miss Universe Zimbabwe during a broadcast, which drew some heat from fans. The real shift in vibe happened when the tour reached North Africa. It was a stark and uncomfortable contrast in Algeria. During a stop at an Algerian Cup football match, things got hostile. Fans threw water and splashed him while he was live streaming. He moved sections to get away, but it continued, forcing him to leave early. He said he didn't feel welcome and noted they seemed to dislike his filming or maybe even his shirt. The comedian Godfrey pointed out the jarring difference between the massive love he got in sub-Saharan countries versus this treatment, suggesting that racism or anti-black sentiment might have played a role, referencing broader patterns of tension. Reports also surfaced of racist abuse in Morocco, including claims that a banana was thrown at him and slurs were shouted, though the details are debated and could be tied to intense football rivalries. In Egypt, he faced heavy restrictions on live streaming due to local rules about cameras in sensitive historical sites. These incidents in North Africa stood out so sharply against the adoration he received everywhere else, and it fueled difficult discussions online about intra-African divides, colorism, and historical attitudes. Of course, critics also called parts of the tour superficial or self-serving. They argued that his loud, exaggerated persona was just spectacle that offered fleeting attention without any deep or lasting impact, benefiting his brand more than the local economies. And Speed's own past controversies, like his gaming bans, were sometimes brought up, reminding everyone that his high-energy style always walks a fine line. But the revelations from this tour go far beyond internet drama. Speed's raw, unfiltered streams exposed a modern, diverse, and hospitable Africa to millions of young Westerners and the diaspora, directly challenging years of negative propaganda. At the same time, they shone a bright light on the real complexities within the continent itself, the different receptions from region to region, the power of social media to amplify both love and tension, and the gap between Black American expectations and African realities. For Speed personally, it seemed transformative, reinforcing a sense of connection while exposing him to cultures he'd never known. In the end, IshowSpeed's Africa tour wasn't just travel content. It was a high-stakes global experiment in perception that delivered massive crowds, cultural immersion, personal growth, and uncomfortable truths all at once. The tour is over, but the conversations are still raging. And it leaves us with one big question. What surprising revelations and new controversies await when Speed takes on his next uncharted adventure? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.